yesterday, and we'll try and get you a couple more pick 5 and pick 6 combinations today.
Yeah, we'll have a couple of those tickets we'll show you, but let's start the day off today. We have 7 runners in the first field race, so we will have a carryover in our super high 5 of a $600 plus, and that starts in race number 1. Also, we have Acacia's early pick 5 ticket, which we'll be showing you in a few minutes. And with a 10 race card, that means the Rainbow Six starts in race number 5, and we're approaching $17,000 in that pool. And I will show you my ticket a little later on. And then we end the day with our final pick 5 of the afternoon. And once again, Acacia will come back and try and give you a winning ticket. She was close yesterday, almost got it done, 4 out of 5. And today I feel like could be the day.
Could be the day. Well, my single in the last race yesterday was the late scratch right when we got to the starting gate. So that was a tough one for sure. But 4 out of 5 yesterday, hopefully 5 out of 5 today.
Well, we're about to start our day, and with a firm turf course, as I mentioned, 7 1/2 furlongs. These are claimers on the turf, fillies and mares, 3 and up, 12-5. Scratch the main track only, number 8, Tormenta de Oro. And as we promised, here is Acacia's early pick 5 ticket.
Yes, I thought that this first race was pretty wide open, and one of the worst things is getting knocked out in the first leg. So I did go 4 deep in race number 1, then 2, and then 5 deep in race 3, when I was able to go a little bit deeper there because I found my single in race number 4, and then 2 deep in the 5th race. A nice $40 ticket there.
Yeah, I like that. You get the spread in race number 3, which is a wide open affair, so a $40 ticket there. And now we'll take a look at this first race, and the current favorite up there very early in the wagering is the number 2, 1 Liz. I started it off in here with the 5, Angora, who's cutting back to 7 1/2 furlongs after notching her second consecutive victory when defeating $16,000 condition claimers here going a mile. Her last race was given a little more meaning, was highlighted when the second place finisher, Image of Rachel, came back to win on Thursday. So going off that performance, threw this one on top. But I like the fact that you got the 7, Defying Gravity, up there right now on the board very early in the wagering, 15-1, and that's what I like.
Yeah, I wasn't surprised. I wasn't as expecting to see 14-1 now on the 7, Defying Gravity, 8-1 on the morning line, but definitely a square price there. And I really liked the way that this horse looked. Had a sloppy track last time out with a race taken off of the turf, and still was only beaten about 5 1/2 lengths. If you go back to the last time that she ran the 7 1/2 furlongs, that was 3 back at Gulfstream Park West, and that was a very impressive victory, won by 2 1/4 lengths. And she's stepping up a bit in class now for sure, but going off of that performance, she seems pretty comfortable at the distance and on the turf, and has done pretty well over there.
And getting the services of Edgar Zayas today, so certainly a horse you want to take another look at. Jose Pinchin is the trainer of number 7, Defying Gravity. The horse that we mentioned, and I don't want to mention this too much because it's so early in the wagering, the 2, 1 Liz, now in the Angel Rodriguez barn. This way will face 12-5 open claimers after failing to show her usual tactical speed when coming up empty. Was against $30,000 condition claimers going a mile last time out. She's a 3-time turf winner at a mile, and I just thought that she can run. She can spark a wake-up call at this level, but I thought she'd be more of a price in here. I don't know if she was she was the morning line favorite, so I guess that's why all them early money is on it.
It seems to be, and I passed on this horse in my top 3, and I think that she looked more like a synthetic horse to me. She seemed to be a little bit more comfortable on the poly. I could certainly see her winning. Maybe I'm totally wrong here with this and leaving her off of my top 3, but I ended up going for a couple other horses. I used the 5, Angora, that you mentioned. I liked the way that she looked a lot, especially off those past 2 victories. And then I rounded it out with the 3, Belladini, who's going to be stepping up in distance a bit. This one was 7-2 on the morning line, 8-1 right now, so a little bit of a good price there in my trifecta. So if that comes through, you'll definitely get some good payouts there. But this horse has definitely done well in the sprints. She's been running at 5 furlongs on the turf, and so she'll step up a bit to the 7 1/2, and I think just that little bit of extra might be what she needs to get back into the money.
Yeah, I mean, you sort of have to be a forgiving sort to have the 2 horse on top of your ticket. I couldn't put it on top of the ticket for the reasons, and I can understand leaving it off the ticket. We'll see how that horse runs. The other horse to close out the first, Trust Your Intuition, stretching out around 2 turns after rallying to finish second against this level of competition. That was going 5/8 of a mile. Kristen Mulhall is the trainer. Jesus Rios handling that added real estate this afternoon. So we're going to start the day 7 against the 5. We'll see how that works out. We'll let you know a little later on in the day, that's for sure. Second race, 5.5 furlongs. Claim is 3 and up. $6,250. Full field of 9 runners in here. And you and I both have the number 1 Artifacto on top of our ticket.
Yes, first off the claim, moving over into the barn of Peter Walder, and a little bit of a stat for you. In the past 5 years, Peter Walder, first off the claim and in sprints, which is this is the 5.5 furlongs here. He's 19 for 72, 26% win, 57% in the money with a $1.65 ROI, but a huge in the money percentage there, 57%.
Yeah, 57%. And Peter Walder always up there with good stats in the win percentage, 226%. And because they bet him so much, you can understand the $1.65 ROI. Looks like the logical choice in there. We both used the 3 horse in second. It's Duncan Ben. And Duncan Ben, want to go back and show you this horse is the head on his last race. He stumbles at the start in here. And you know, I just wanted to point this out because when I show you the rest of what he did, you know, he stumbles down there and he sort of lost ground. Now he rushes up in here, but we're going to switch to the stretch, you know, in a couple of moments when he comes back. And I just thought he was very game in this thing. He was 30 cents to the dollar. He was in a previous barn last time out. But after that stumbling incident at the start, coming up and being able to win like this, I thought this horse should run well in here. He's moving to the Michelle Nevin barn via the claiming route today. The barn is pretty good with new claims, over 22%. Christian Navarro will be in the saddle. He's been riding good, that apprentice.
He has indeed, and especially looking at that replay of the race, it takes a lot to come back from a tough break like that, and Duncan Ben certainly did that, so I had him in my top 2 as well.
And who else did you use?
I rounded it out with the 4, It's Not Me, who does have some pretty good back class, but coming off a strong second finish last time out, 6 furlongs at the 62.50 claiming level, so going to stay at the same level, and was beaten only by 1 length, and this is a horse that has a lot of early speed. Expect him to go to the front, may not be able to hold on for the win, but may be able to hold on for a piece of the pie.
Yeah, and I had some interest in a horse that's shipping in from Tampa Bay, and that's the 5 Harry Yee. This one is dropping to this level today in the first starts and showing speed. Weakling Lady finished 3rd. That was against 12-5 claimers up at Tampa Bay. But if you look at this Monty Thomas trainee, never been beat at 5.5 furlongs, 2 starts. 2 wins, respect the connections. Maybe this horse comes down, hard to translate 12.5 to 62.50 here, but I think this horse has a shot to run well in there, and he's a square price on the board, I think, on the line, I mean, at 8-1. So we'll see how race number 2 plays out. We're going to flip the page and go to race number 3 right now. It's a 6 furlong maiden special weight. Fillies and mares, 3-year-olds and upward, and it's a pretty nice field in here. And you started it off with the 2-horse Tis a City from the Ralph Nix barn.
I did. This was a $425,000 daughter of Tisway out of a Vindication mare, Vindy City. Ralph Nix has 2 here in this race, and this is one of them. And from a stakes winning mare, this is actually her first full running, and just really, really nice on the work tab, looking really strong coming into this race.
Yeah, let's show you a stat on this. This is Ralph Nix over the last 5 years with 3-year-olds, first-time starters on the dirt. He's 6 for 29, 21% win average. He's in the money 38% of the time. He's got a $1.71 ROI. It's first-time starters on the dirt, and that is 3-year-olds, and you know, not just the younger horses there. I wanted to separate because he does a fantastic job with his 2-year-olds. Does a great job, as you can see here, with his 3-year-olds too. So number 2, Tis the City on my ticket, just on the top because I went with the number 1 in here, Morea. This is the only entrant in the field with previous experience, turning back to 3/4 of a mile. He went up, he set a pressured pace throughout. He finished second, going 7/8 of a mile. The trainer is Gustavo Delgado, and he's got Emiciel Jaramillo atop this $200,000 daughter of Indian Charlie. So I'm going with the previous experience angle, turning back in distance today. We tell you all the time how good Emiciel Jaramillo has been running at this meet. So I just went with the experience angle. I can understand if the 2-1, I would not not be shocked at all. But I hung my hat on a horse that's run already the rest of the race, replete with first-time starters.
Yeah, and I ended up using her in second here as well. This is actually a horse that is a half-sister to Weep No More, the horse that upset in the Ashland and then went on to run in the Kentucky Oaks. So there is definitely some good breeding there. And as you mentioned, a $200,000 purchase, and I do like that experience. It has some early speed, we know.
And you used the 6 on your ticket, too, and that's a Baby Blue Jeans.
I did. Baby Blue Jeans, another half-sister to a Grade 3 winner, Beat the Blues. Curtis Garrison is the trainer. Jose Alvarez will be aboard.
Well, what about the number 3 in here? Perhaps Some Drama. I like that name. Is a daughter of course, Big Drama, debuting for David Forks. And as you know, David Forks was the trainer of Big Drama. Really a series of solid local workouts showing, which includes that recent 5-furlong bullet in 59 and 4. So looks like things are positive with this daughter of Big Drama, and that's the number 3. Perhaps Some Drama. With that, we will go to race number 4 this afternoon. This one, 6.5 furlongs, maiden claimers, fillies and mares, 3-year-olds and up, $12,500. The jockey on the number 5 is E. Martinez, and we both have number 1 Prize Arch on top of our ticket, 2-1 on the morning line.
2-1 on the morning line, sticking at the 12-5 and at the sprinting. Tried to stretch out and go to the turf 2 back, and that didn't really work out so well. Didn't seem so comfortable there. She moved back over to the dirt, 6-furlong distance last time out, and finished a very respectable third, beating only about 2.5 lengths there.
Yeah, and when you cruise down the past performances of this race, certainly looks like this is the logical choice to be on the ticket, plus the 2-1 morning line favoritism. But it's maybe a little more wide open than that. The horse I used in second, used in third, was the number 6, Legia Elena. This one is hoping to bounce back at this 6.5 furlong distance after following a couple of in-the-money finishes during March. Comes back. Poor showing last time out. Angel Rodriguez, Edward Zayas in the saddle. Maybe this horse bounces back and grabs a share there. I see you had it on your ticket too, but you did go with the number 4 in second.
I did. I went with the number 4, Popelka, who's actually a first-time starter, the only firster in this race, and I thought this was a little bit of a gamble. 4-1 on the morning line, though, so a pretty good price there. And then, as you mentioned, I rounded it out with the 6, Legia Elena. For all the reasons that you mentioned, I do like that Zayas is riding the horse for the second time in a row, too.
Yeah, and, you know, the first-time starter, when a race like this has, more questions than really answers in here, maybe a first-time starter is the way to go, and I guess the line maker was thinking the same way, making a first-time starter 4-1. Number 9, Silver Casino, turning back in distance after, strange performance last time out. The jock, his first ride here, sort of misjudged the finish line. Looked like he was going to win the race, but the jock stood up just at that end of time, and he was caught at the wire. I mean, it can happen to anyone out there. At Gulfstream Park, we do have those 2 finish lines. So I just thought the way this horse ran up until that point, I put him on my ticket. With that said, a wide open race, number 4. We're going to take a short break. When we come back, we will have the Rainbow 6. Welcome back to beautiful Gulfstream Park and Gulfstream today. It's Ron and Acacia, and the 5th race with a 10-race card is where the Rainbow 6 starts in here. We're going to show you my ticket, and you will see as it goes 4 deep in here. I thought this was a bit of a wide open affair. 3, 3, 3, and then you see back in race number 9. That's where I found my single this afternoon, and that is the 2-horse Santifica. And as always, Christophe Clement will talk about that horse a little later on. So this race, I started with the 7, Bella Nusta, but I know you had some interest and have right on top of your ticket number 3, and that's Some Kind of Fabulous.
Some Kind of Fabulous, and I do actually want to go and show her last race on April 23rd. She finished second by just a neck. She had a win 2 back You'll see here she's the 4 horse, and she's coming around the stretch, and the winner was the speed throughout. Pelagia was the winner of this race here, the number 1. She's out in front. Some Kind of Fabulous is able to split horses and come through, and she had a really game performance here. She had a little bit of bumping there, maybe just some traffic issues, and a very game second to a horse that, as I mentioned, was speed throughout. She had a duel at the end as the 2 horse started coming through. She had some pressure and was able to hold on for second, and off of that, really tenacious performance that she had there, coupled with the win 2 back, I thought that she'd be one to look good on top of the ticket.
Yeah, and she right before that, she'd broke her maiden, so she's making the step up to face winners, and I thought she ran very, very well. I do have her on my ticket, as you saw, but I did start with the number 7, Bellanusta, and this one I'm using because it's plummeting to this $12,500 level, turning back to 5 furlongs after, I thought, an ambitious outing against $75,000 optional claimers, going 7.5 furlongs, in which she set the early pace and faded. What I like about this horse, if you notice that recent 3 furlong bullet gate work in 35 and 2, I think it sets her up nicely here. I think maybe they were a little over their head last time out, at least in my estimation. I think this is a logical spot, but a lot of people are concerned going from 75 to 12.5.
It's a big drop, and this horse was a bubbler one for me, and I ended up using the 5 instead, Revolver Sessions. But before that, we both used the 1, Miss Mongolia, in second, and this one's first off the claim, moving over into the barn of Marcial Navarro. And excuse me, a little stat on there: Marcial Navarro in the past 5 years, horses that are in the money last out. So this horse finished in the money in her last race. She was second in the money last out, and then first off the claim, he's 13 for 49, 27% with winners, 47% in the money, and a $1.96 ROI. So some really good performances with horses that he's claimed that have run in the money.
Yeah, and you mentioned Marcial Navarro. This horse last time returned from an almost 7-month layoff to track swift fractions. Look at the fractions in that race that day: 21 flat, 43 and 3, en route to that second place finish at this level in distance. And you mentioned all the stats. A logical horse to be somewhere on your ticket. I did use number 3, Some Kind of Fabulous. Tell us about the 5 in here, and that's Revolver Sessions, who I liked in there. Almost put in, this is, like you said, a bubble horse for me.
Yeah, you went with the 7, I went with the 5, so we were both kind of figuring that out there. But Revolver Sessions is coming off of her maiden win, won by 2 lengths last out. That was back in September, so she's had a bit of a layoff. She's also taking the blinkers off, and this is interesting. In her most recent race, trainer Wesley Ward took away the Lasix, so she ran without Lasix back in September. That was her maiden win. This time, coming off the layoff, she's going to take off the blinkers, so going more and more slowly to running without anything, and now she's going to try doing that. And I've learned the hard way sometimes not to leave Wesley Ward off my ticket.
Yeah, definitely. And Wesley Ward, a great system. He puts blinkers on all his 2-year-olds, and when they get older, become older horses, he takes them off and does all these things. And boy, he had a nice winner yesterday that we had sort of on our ticket. I did not have it on the top of my ticket, and I don't know if that knocked you out of your ticket.
No, I had it.
You had it. That's right.
One.
Well, race number 6, 7.5 furlongs on the turf. Claim is 3 and up, 12.5, and this is race number 6. And if my fingers are right, I think this starts the late pick 5 of the afternoon.
It does. Fingers are right. Races 6 to 10 is the late pick 5, and you'll see my ticket up there. I went a little bit less expensive in this one, 2 deep, then 3-3. I also found my same single as you. I think this is the first time we've had that with the Christophe Clement starter in race 9, and then 3 deep in the last leg. Just $27 for the late pick 5, but you can certainly beef it up a little bit more if you feel strongly about some of the races. But in my mind, the first half of the races were the more open-ended ones.
Yeah, and number 3, Fan Base, the horse we both had interest in, moved to the Ramon Moya Bonvita claim after responding last time to a drop in competition with a game score at the distance. That was against $10,000 claimers. Slight turn back today to 7.5 furlongs. Looks like a positive mood. This horse, a 13-time turf winner, 37 races and 13 wins on the turf. So this is, in the dictionary, a hard-knocking campaigner.
Absolutely. And for all of those reasons, and if you look back at the past performances, all of the recent races since September of 2015 have been wins, and the 2 that have not been wins were 2 seconds, 1 beaten only by 1 length and 1 beaten only by 3/4 of a length. So always been right there. A really hard-knocking is a good way to put at 7-year-old gelding.
Well, you got the 5 on your ticket, too. Kentonero, who's up there at a really nice 12-1. Tell me about it.
Well, this is another little long shot. I guess it's kind of the same thing, not leaving Wesley Ward off. He's had a few horses coming over here that have coming off big layoffs. This one, an even bigger layoff than the horse I was just talking about. The last race for Cantonero was February of 2015, so more than a year. And the last race was a pretty disappointing performance there, so you had to guess there might have been something wrong, and then ended up taking the layoff there. But 2 back, had a nice victory, and prior to that, right up in the money and some nice wins as well. So I thought coming back off the layoff might be able to finish well in the money.
Yeah, the horse I did not use on my ticket. Maybe go back. If Wesley Woods has a big day, it looks like you'll have a big day today.
I guess so.
Number 4, Old Time Sake, has his claiming tag sliced in half today after returning from the layoff to stalk the pace. He finished 5th. It was against 25 claimers, going 7.5 furlongs on that firm turf course that afternoon. So Old Time Sake on the drop on my ticket. And we both used number 8, Dreaming of Frank, who's now in the Angel Rodriguez barn. And this horse, I would not be shocked at all if it had won.
Oh, I would not either. This would be one who's 5-1 on the morning line. This would be one that would cross the finish line, and you'd say, okay, I understand that. Third last time out, beaten about 3/4 of a length, 2 back, a really nice win at the mile and 16th distance. The most recent start was 7.5 furlongs, and that 7.5 sometimes is a funky little place to fit in there, but this horse has done well of many distances.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, you know, he's in, as I mentioned, the barn change. He's a gelded son of Curlin, makes that 3rd start of the form cycle after following a sharp 3 lifetime win. That was against 16 claimers, going a mile in the 16th. Then he comes back, he stalks, he fades, finishes 3rd at this level of distance last time out. Maybe it's just the old bounce rebound angle. This is the horse I could not and would not leave off my Rainbow Six ticket for all the reasons we just mentioned. And that'll be up to you to decide that when you put your tickets together. Race number 7, 7.5 furlongs on the turf. Fillies and Mares, 3 and up. Maiden special weight. We do have some scratches in here of the 2, 7, 11, and the also eligible number 13. And we were talking about this horse a little later on, and we both seemed to like this horse. And a friend of ours, Cliff, came in, and he liked this horse, so sort of made us feel better about it. And that is the number 10 horse today, Well Blessed. I know you want to go back or the backtrack on this horse back on April 17th.
Yes, back on April 17th, Well Blessed had her first start, and she was wide at the start. She was wide the entire time. She had a hard time settling in the race. She was the 8 horse there. You'll see her coming around the turn, and she had to go wide at the end too. So though she broke from a wide post, as I said, she had a hard time settling at the start of the race. And again, it's her first start as well, so she's still figuring everything out. She had to go wide. She's coming by all of these horses here. It ends up that they're 4 across, and she was very, very game in defeat and second there to the 6 horse. She won the photo for second. It was very tight there with all the horses coming towards the finish line, and just really liked the way that she ran in that debut.
Well, being we're both on the number 10, Well Blessed, let's show you a stat from the Christophe Comant when he does just this. Second career start, 3-year-olds on the turf. He's 14 for 81. He's done it a lot, 17%. 51% in the money, and being he's the odds on choice, that's why you see that $1.34 ROI all the time. So number 10, a logical choice in race number 7. Who else did you use on the ticket?
I used the number 1, Not in Jest, by Unbridled Song, out of the Cure the Blues mare Stop Traffic, which means that she is a full sister to Cross Traffic, who was, of course, stakes winner, won the Grade 1 Whitney, and a couple of other stakes. Todd Pletcher also trained Cross Traffic. He's the trainer of Not in Jest. 9-2 on the morning line, first-time starter, debuting with Lasix. Does have several consistent works on the tab.
Todd Pletcher also has another starter in here, and that's Do Believe in Magic, which is the number 7 horse, I believe, in here. Or no, not
4.
Number 4 horse in this race. But I did go with the number 3 in second. That is Sharp Kitty. This is a $340,000 daughter of Kitten's Joy, making her first start since showing promise, and that was in a trio of turf races during the very tough championship meet. Amy Tarrant Matt Rispoli named on the sophomore. Kitten's Joy. I'm looking at the morning line. I'm looking at 12-1. Kitten's Joy on the turf. Had to throw that one on my ticket.
I wouldn't be surprised to see that price go down a little bit and be a little bit shorter. And if you're looking for a good morning line price, then that's certainly a good way to go. I can totally understand you doing that. I went with the 12 Alpine Sky, who was a $600,000 daughter of Indy and Charlie. She's making her first start with trainer Todd Quash. She was with Ralph Nix, and her last start was in December of 2015, so she's had a couple of months off, a few freshening, but all of her races so far have shown a lot of promise. She has 3 very solid seconds, maybe a little bit of seconditis, so that's why I put her in the top 3. Again, she's shown promise and coming off that layup, and certainly her owners thought some promise of her as well.
This is a really nice race.
It is a nice race.
It really is a nice race. I also used that one for all the reasons I mentioned. You will see it. Don't forget Todd Pletcher also trains the number 4. We're going to go to race number 8. We're going to go back to a fast main track. It's a 1-mile claiming event for 3-year-olds and up, non-winners of 2 races in life. And we have 9 runners in here and no scratches or jockey changes. And we both have American Luxury on top of our ticket. And we want to go back and show you this horse's start last time out on April 23rd. And the word pinball comes to mind here. You will see this horse breaking right there's the number 4 and just gets, slammed both sides just all the way up there. And, it just knocked that horse's momentum off in there. We wanted to show that. And now with the drop in competition to the $6,250 level, stretching out to a mile for the first time, followed that set the pace, 3rd place, finish going 12-5, 2 lifetime claimers, going 7 furlongs. That was back on April 10th, and you saw this one last time out. And I think this is the logical spot. The trouble, wasn't the worst in the world at the start, but I think the drop is really going to help this horse.
I totally agree. I think that you look at that race and still finished up pretty well considering all of the stuff that he had to deal with at the start of the race. But I do really think that the drop will be the key, and he could set up well also to have a good trip in this mile race.
Yeah, no, the 2-1 morning line favorite in here is the number 1. And that is Dr. Fan, and Dr. Fan getting some class relief today.
Yes, indeed. Coming off of non-winners of 2, 12-5 last time out, but has kept some really good company in the past. This is a $200,000 son of Tiz Now.
He broke his maiden on New Year's Eve. It was really impressive. Won that race by about 11.5 lengths. The trainer is Kathy Redfo, and got her go-to jock, Luca Panici, in the saddle this afternoon. So a logical contender on there, and thus the 2-1 on the morning line. We're going to both try and beat it with the 3 in there. And I use also the number 7 in here, and that's Yuki Tan. This one 5 for 7 in the money at a mile. And if you look at the rest of the horses in the race, this horse hasn't won it, but it looks like he can run well at that mile. So 7 starts, no wins, 3 seconds, 2/3, stretching out, coming up empty as the favorite, going 6 furlongs last time out. I think the stretch is going to help this horse. You have number 8 in here, and it is Papa Pig.
Papa Pig. I used Papa Pig to round out my top 3. Tried the turf last time out and is now in the Antonio Sano barn again. But trying that turf last out was a no-go there. And if you look back to the dirt races, 2 back had a very nice victory back at the end of April at Gulfstream right here, won by 3/4 of a length. And then that turf race did come 10 days after that victory, so wheeled back pretty quickly. Now has had a little bit more of a break, coming back to his preferred surface. I thought all of those things could make for a good combination.
Papa Pig.
Papa Pig.
Gotta say that name. 9th race today, 5 furlongs on the turf, allowance optional. Claimer fillies and mares, 3-year-olds and up, $25,000. Oh, very simple here. We both singled this horse. No problem. Tell us about the 2. Scientifica.
I did. We just talked about another Christophe Clement starter, Well Blessed, and here's another one that we both singled 8-5
right.
on the morning line.
And rightly so.
And rightly so. I agree. Christophe Clement trains. Edgar Zayas will be in the saddle. Finished 3rd last time out in her 2nd start on the turf, but a very solid 3rd at that. And her maiden victory, 2 back, was her first start on the turf, 5 furlongs running there after 3 dirt starts. She won very impressively by 2 lengths.
Yeah, no, it just on paper absolutely looks like the one to beat. But I did use the number 8, Gaga Over You in 2nd, who moved to the Dave Casson barn via the claim. steps up to competition today after a 2-race win streak ended when she got hooked in an early speed duel and finished third. It was a 16-claimer back on March 18th. She's fresh and definitely shows a fondness for sprinting right on this course. She's had 3 races here with 2 wins and a third, I believe. So 2 for 3 in the win column on this turf course, going 5/8 of a mile. And Dave Casson does a fantastic job. Now, you went to the 5-horse and for your second selection.
I did. I put Ghost of a Napa in second. I used Gaga Over You for all the reasons that you were just talking about in third. I thought looking really good on paper, especially coming off that freshening. But the 5, Ghost of a Napa, is coming off an impressive victory last time out, won by a length and a quarter. Tyler Gaffleone has been aboard for the past 2 starts. He's going to stay aboard. Here's another Antonio Sano trained one. The past few races have been at the 5-furlong sprinting distance on the turf. 1 for 8 at the Gulfstream turf. But I did think that this is one who still might run well off of that victory and finish in the money.
Yeah, that is the number 6, I believe, Goes to Napa. Maybe wrote the wrong number.
5.
5? It is the 5? Okay.
It is the 5, yes.
Okay. I thought it was 6. Okay, the other horse I used, Lady Master, we both used in here, is stepping up to competition after setting demanding early fractions and drawing away in a lane to defeat 12-5 claimers by almost 3 lengths. To me, on paper, she looks like the speed of the speed in here, and there is a lot of speed in here. So if the turf course, you saw it yesterday, started going back, a couple of horses were able to win on the front end. So number 7, Lady Master, maybe goes out there and never looks back.
Maybe goes out and never looks back. And as you said, Eddie Castro aboard and has the speed and goes right out over there. And you could see that with a fast-running front horse.
Let's go to race number 10 today. 7.5 furlongs maiden claimers, fillies and mares, 3-year-olds and upward, $12,500. We got the same exactor in the nightcap. And if you remember my Rainbow 6 ticket, these are the only 2 I used on my ticket because I wanted to go deeper earlier on. And the first horse we're going to talk about is First Dixie, shortening up to 7.5 furlongs after responding to the drop back to the $12,500 level. Second place finish, going a mile last time out, Brian Baker, with apprentice Chris McIntosh in the saddle. Looks like the one to beat in here. Definitely
looks like the one to beat on paper. Beaten just 2 lengths last time out. Cutting back to the 7.5 furlongs, ran a mile the last 2. Debuted on the dirt, and the switch over to turf certainly seemed to suit her well.
Well, number 4, Kitten Star, is cutting back in distance after breaking from post 10. Going up, vying for the lead, and fading to finish 5th against similar, going 1 mile and 1/16. It's Gustavo Delgado. He's got apprentice John Cruz in the saddle, and I just think all of those are proof posts this afternoon. Cutting back in distance makes the number 4, Kitten Star, look pretty good in the nightcap.
I totally agree, and as you said, we have the same exact here. 6 starts so far for Kitten Star, and this may be the one where she gets closer to the finish line. And I rounded it out with the number 8, Dulce Vida, who's making her first start on turf. Had 2 starts so far. Did debut on a sloppy track at Tampa and then came back. But what I like is that this horse went from the maiden claiming to the maiden special weight and is now coming over to Gulfstream Park and trying out the turf for the first time. I think all of those things coming by, this one might run well on the turf.
Yeah, and I threw in a 3, Island Lights, the daughter of St. Adon, who finds a good spot to start her career. She's a sophomore, shows 6 works, albeit those are on the main track in preparation for her turf debut. But one of those horses here that might be able to grab a share. And of course, with this 11-horse field, we will have a rolling super high 5 in race number 11. It's going to be a really fun day of racing. We got a couple of really nice turf races on the card. And, we got all the top turf trainers and trainers in the country here. We have Christophe Clement, Todd Fletcher, everybody. So it's a fun day of racing.
Yes, looking forward to seeing how it all plays out.
Good luck, everybody. We'll be back in just a couple of moments.
What do I love about